Hello, Internet, and thank you very much for tuning into the CloudNative podcast. This is your host, Saim Sabru, for the CloudNative FM. So, we will be talking about cloud optimization, particularly, we're speaking about cloud in the cost spectrum. So, let me give some perspective what we're actually planning to cover today. Cloud cost optimization needs to shift left, where cost prevention is a leading strategy, and the cloud cost optimization tools are only deployed in a downstream process to catch a tiny number of usage anomalies that have slipped through the tiny net of preventive checks. And today, there are three ways to provision capacity on cloud. Think about it, three legs of stool. On-demand instance offer immediate access to compute resources with good availability. Spot instance provide cost-saving but experience interruptions, and capacity reservations offer the highest assurance of resource availability for steady state workflow. None of these methods, unfortunately, are suitable for non-steady state workload where usage goes up and down. On-demand is very expensive and spot instance is unreliable, whereas reservations turn out to be surprisingly expensive due to 24-hour salmon payment, even when there is no usage. And we are actually covering CloudIdr is inventing a new category called flex compute, the fourth leg of the stool customized for non-steady state workload. Flex compute has multiple product customized for different types of workload, and customers save 30 to 75% by directly purchasing through AWS, Azure, GCP instance through CloudIdr at 10x or 100x higher uptown. And I'm very fortunate to speak with CEO of the company and all the innovation behind him. His name is Khursheed Hassan. He's the founder of CloudIdr. Before launching CloudIdr, he served as a head of storage devices and memory technical sourcing at AWS Infrastructure Unit, and then led and grew the capacity product management group, our $300 million ARR and 150% year-to-year growth with an EC2 service. His product group was responsible for solving cloud elasticity challenges at scale. Khursheed has over 23 years of leadership and management experience in corporations like AWS, Intel, Western Digital, Dell, Motorola, Freescale, and startup on Einsel, Simple Machine, Alerian. Khursheed was an EE PhD candidate at UT Austin. Oh, thank you very much, Khursheed. It's first time you're joining me on my show. Over to you. Let us bit about your product you are actually developing and how it's all started.
Thank you, Simon. It is fantastic to be here. I really appreciate the introduction. I think you were very courteous there. But I'm delighted to be here and to share some deep insights and perspectives that you want your audience to hear from us.
Awesome, absolutely. So you actually have been spent time on AWS, and I want to know a little bit about some of the concern in the community, also from the customer perspective, also for the larger organization perspective, why cloud cost is still a big deal as of today, and why on-demand spot and reservations, some of the offering we have, still lags behind what the customers need today.
It's a very good question. It's a very loaded question, Simon. So let me kind of begin by saying cloud in general is a black box, and everyone is operating from at the periphery of the black box. And then if you look at capacity, which is the hardest problem in the cloud, because you have to satisfy on an on-demand basis capacity all the time, there is another black box. So there's a black box within black box. And when the customers are using cloud, yes, they have very rich feature sets around that black box, but they do not truly understand what's happening internally, right? In fact, I will make an argument that within the cloud organization itself, There are very few people who understand the capacity and how capacity trade-offs should be done in terms of cost and availability and what the workload should look like. So it's a very, very hard, complex problem. And if you look at the last 18 years as the cloud has come, you will notice uh, that the customer base has increased, the workload types have increased, the enterprises are moving at a very rapid clip into the cloud. Yet there are only three primitives, and to reuse the word that he used, three legs of a stool that is available for the customer for all the immense variety, right? Those three legs are on-demand instance, spot instances, or reservations. So if you look at history of anything, in mature markets, you cannot force fit solutions. You need to build segmentation to address different types of customers, different types of workload, different types of users, right? And I think cloud has not done a good job there. And there's a tremendous opportunity to come and solve that problem. When you solve that problem, then you start looking at from both the angles, right? Left shift, left side, and the right side. Because cloud is a black box, the tools are looking at from a black box point of view, right? Hey, what has been what is accessed, what has not been used properly, where there are orphan instances, or what we need to do better in terms of purchasing. These are all reactive approaches. What Because folks cannot peek into it and truly understand the nature of the cloud, they have not been doing what we call, let's call it left shifted or preventive measures. This is where CloudIdr comes in, because we believe there's an opportunity in the space to be preventive in your cloud cost and tune your cloud cost to your workload needs.
Awesome, absolutely. And I think everybody listening to us right now, it sounds really very resonating for them, because I think cloud in general, as you mentioned, is a box. But with the advent of Kubernetes and container, it's become a very giant box in itself. With every piece is actually covered in another box, and you do sometime organization who actually just jump into the container wave. They doesn't know what are the tools available for me that actually help me deploy some of the stuff in the infrastructure as well. So I look at the company's CloudIdr. I hopefully is actually everybody can see it on their screen now, cloudidr.com. So as of today, some of the services I can see in your solution are called Cyber Compute Cloud, and one other service called is Schedule Cloud Compute. Can you give us a brief introduction of some of the categories? What are the target audience you actually been targeting in some of your product you actually have launched or are actually thinking about launching in the near future?
Yeah, very good question. So our philosophy is that we need to customize cloud solutions and tune them for the workloads. So that's the overarching thing. And we don't believe that three primitives that we talked about are sufficient to address all sorts of customers. So we are inventing a solution called Flex Compute. We call that as a four leg of the stool. And within the Flex Compute is a broad category. We are building unique workload tuned solutions, right? So what you see on our website, and this is what we have available today. Um, we have already launched our cyber recovery compute, which is also used for disaster recovery compute. I'm going to explain those two these. And the second feature, as you pointed out, is the scheduled compute. So what are these? Basically, our thesis is that we do not want to go and do the same things that the cloud providers already provide, right? Our approach is what is unaddressed in the market and how we can sort of cater to it and provide the best value for our customers. We are targeting what we call non-steady state workloads. So non-steady state workloads are the workloads that go up and down throughout the day or through the weeks or through the months, right? For example, non-steady workloads are the workloads where you have a broadcast of a popular show. You have a pop concert going on that you want to broadcast, or you have a release of a new game, or you have retail events like Cyber Monday or Black Friday. These are the times where the end users are actually going to the cloud to do different things, to watch videos, to kind of purchase things and stuff like that, right? These are examples where you have certain peaks happening. And maybe there are other times when nothing is happening or the workload is very small. So what we are doing is we are building solutions to address these non-steady state workload, which goes ups and down. And the reason you want to do that is you want to make sure that you get the capacity when you need them at the right time. So you don't get what we typically call in AWS insufficient capacity errors. That's like going to a retail shop and finding you don't have the bread, right? It's really frustrating experience. We want to avoid that experience by giving 10x and 100x more uptime. Or the second thing is that we also want to make sure that the on-demand expense, the premium, I call that the tax, the premium tax for on-demand, customers don't have to pay that. So what we are doing is we're doing two things with the solutions. With the flex compute category is increase the uptime for specific workloads because different workloads may need different uptime or availability. And then make sure that the cost for operating for these non-steady state workloads are lower than what they will typically go and get directly from the cloud providers. That's the two thesis. That's the two value proposition that we're providing. Now, coming back to your question, sorry for a long background here. Coming back to the question, what is cyber recovery compute? So cyber recovery compute, as you know, that cyber attacks are common, and no matter what preventive measures you take, something will crack through and it will basically take your systems or your accounts hostage, right? So you still need to operate. When that happens, when that situation happens, for the business continuity, you not only need to have a backup of your storage and databases in a different region or perhaps in a different AZ or a different account, but in order to orchestrate all of that storage backup application, you need to have compute. Now, with the problem in the cloud being that cloud never guarantees compute. Now, this is really important to understand. I will ask all of the listeners in this podcast to say and ask your cloud provider, are you going to guarantee me compute? Guarantee is the word. And they will hear back from the cloud provider, sorry, we cannot guarantee compute. If you want to have higher guarantees or assurances, use reservations. So on demand is not the vehicle. What we are doing is we're telling to the customers, hey, we will provide you 5 nines of uptime when you want to recover from cyber attacks or you want to recover from disaster recovery. It can be operator errors, it can be data centers going down, it can be outages in the whole region, right, of a cloud provider. You still want to recover, we'll provide you capacity in an air gap different region from the same cloud provider or whoever is your choice is. We don't care about the cloud provider, hyperscaler, and you can flip over your workload in the case that there has been a DR disaster event or a cyber recovery event. So we call that cyber recovery compute, or you can also call that disaster recovery compute. The beauty of this solution is that the customers don't need to pay the full price for reservations. They don't need to depend on demand, which is unreliable for business critical workloads. They get the capacity from us and we'll guarantee 5 nines and we sell the capacity at 75% cheaper. The way we do that is, maybe that's would be your next question, is we ourselves reserve the capacity on behalf of customers, and we have built very sophisticated mathematical models derived from actuarial sciences to make sure that we can guarantee that sort of uptime. So that's what we call cyber recovery compute. I'll just quickly tell about the scheduled compute. The scheduled compute is really tailored for the workloads where you have CI/CD pipelines or you have like events going on. The example which I gave earlier is there is a concert broadcast needs to happen, or some retail events where you have some coupons going on. You expect the customer to come in and use a lot more of a compute. So customers can schedule the compute ahead of time from us, right? From 5 minutes up to like weeks ahead. And we'll make the compute transfer into their account at 30% cheaper, at least 30% cheaper price compared to what they will have got through on demand.
Awesome, Khursheed. Thank you very much for explaining all these kind of stuff as well. So I kind of recap because this is a lot going on. So I want to tell my viewers where we are currently. So I think currently, if we have 3 pillars or we have 3 stools to choose up to bring down some of the things in the cost optimization, one, we can use the on-demand instance, but it's cost inefficiencies with it and is unpredictable expenses because since usage is built per hour or minute without long-term commitments, costs can spiral out of control and if resources aren't properly managed. Next, we have spot instances which are unpredictably unavailable and they have complex orchestration and they're adding more complexity to the cloud infrastructure, and sometimes they have some latencies issues and the cloud provider actually reclaim back some of the instance for you, and you don't actually be notified. Then there's a third capacity we call capacity reservations, that you have a very long time commitment of 1 to 3 years. But the problem is that if you're not deploying or using anything in the cloud, you're still actually paying a lot of the bill in the cloud. So there are underutilizations risk associated with it. So with cloud IDR, so what I'm trying to understand is, let's say if we are already in the, let's say, some of the regions in Virginia or anything, and I just want to add some stuff into the newest version because of something happening to my data center, or I just want to push something in there. So I use Cloud IDR in their platform, in their UI. They link their my AWS cloud to in the Cloud IDR. So, but just eventually I need to use their cloud CSPs. That basically 30% cheaper than what the cloud AWS, GCP, and Azure was giving to them. So if that's a good recap, Khursheed, and if everybody love to have 30% spike down for their resources, what the next step should be for the people who are listening to us right now? What should be, where should they go, how they run it, how they can see the demo of this thing that you actually speaking about, and how they want to connect with you if they want to share what their customers are facing, or is there a collaboration opportunity between them?
Yeah, totally. That was a good summary. And I will just reinforce in that summary, Simon, that uh, when we provide the compute actually is in within their favorite cloud provider, whether it's AWS, GCP, or Azure. So they don't have to change anything. The second thing I want to really emphasize is that we are not building a PaaS. We are not building platform as a service solution. So they don't have to change anything in their cloud environment or setup. Think about it, instead of purchasing or spinning up directly from EC2 or EKS or whatever, you just basically get the compute from us and you run your application. So it's a very seamless process, first of all. The second question is, how can customers reach out to us? They can go to our website. We have forms for both demo of cyber recovery. We have a wait list for schedule capacity, but we are actually doing right now proof of concepts with a number of customers. So we're happy to kind of work with you to see, look, how this solution can fit with your workloads, and can maybe do pilots and whatever they like to do. And with cyber recovery, in fact, we are taking customers right now.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Khursheed. And just a final question. What are the initial observations, how the customer reacts so far with your current actually connection, some initial conversation with them? Like, what is their initial response so far for your solution?
Yeah, so as you know, Sam, it's a very good question. Whenever somebody brings a new solution to the market, there's always this fear of, hey, how much new learning my team will have to do in order to use a solution, right? That training and then becoming comfortable and then kind of integrating everything. We actually faced the same set of questions when we went to the market, and I'm kind of a little biased here, but the beauty of a solution is that, like, sort of eliminating the need to really change anything in the environment, which we call zero platform changes. Everything, the critical questions regarding the learning and the ramp up, and just sort of vanishes away. So that is very positive feedback that we have received. The other thing the customers were a little bit concerned about was, hey, look, we're promising to deliver compute in our account from the cloud provider, but can it work? Can it sort of coexist, or can be picked up by EKS? For example, in AWS case, it's EKS or ECS or EMR. And the answer is yes. So any of the services that you're using on top of your cloud provider, the compute does get picked up by them. So it becomes really a very seamless operation. It's just like, hey, push a button, I need the capacity gets transferred at the right time. And whatever application is running or spinning up at that time will grab the capacity and will execute. And when you're done, the capacity will be taken away. So even from a cost optimization perspective, which we were talking earlier, the late part, when people are reactive, they forget to turn off their instances. They have orphan instances lying around. Everything gets solved with one simple solution without the expense of any additional tool.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's a really pain in the industry right now, because now we have auto scaling groups in the cloud. We spun up resources in the container. Sometimes eventually create up spinning, but take more resources than as usual, and the cloud bill always spiking, and it doesn't know what the hell is going on in nature when there is so much in the cloud. Cost actually exponentially grows. So I think this is a very good and unique solution. I see some of the, I hope there are some demos actually appearing on your screen as well. So you can try out and see what actually, how this fit into you as well. And all the information actually right now is on your screen if you want to stay connected with Khursheed. He's also available on the LinkedIn. And also I share some of the emails. You can actually want to talk with him as well. So before I let you off, final, what is the future? We're actually closing down. This is October. We're just actually heading towards to. There's a 2 new months actually. Just we're wrapping up the new year. So any new things planned currently in the company for closing down this year?
Yeah, we are really excited about expanding our customer base, and we're really excited about some new tune features that we're coming up with, also workload tune features like AI compute. Soon you will see that we will be supporting GPUs as well. And again, that is a very important critical workloads because on demand is expensive. And by using us, you can save 30% at least off the bat. Plus, we have a very exciting Horizon 2, Horizon 3 roadmap for next year and beyond that.
Awesome, Khursheed. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Hopefully, I connect with you again sometime in the near future to actually see how this actually space is evolving. It seems very interesting to me, and I look forward to some audience connection question in the comment section as well. And we want to hear from you. What are some of the challenges you guys are facing currently in the cloud? I see so there's a lot of debates going on, especially in the cloud cost front and also in the DR in general. And there are some new waves in the cyber security framework as well. So I think there's a flex compute have some very good potential to change how we live in today in the cloud infrastructure space. And they have some very unique integration in place. You don't need to actually make some migration in place. It's just as you see the same thing in the newest platform. We're already actually been using to it. So I hope there's some very good customer engagement going through. So my best wishes for you and your team in the near future to have some innovative solution on that from in as well. So I hope you guys like the conversations. And if you have some more comments in the chat, we look forward to answering those as well. But Khursheed, is a pleasure talking to you and look forward to connecting with you back again in the near future as well. It's been a very super insightful conversation and also a great learning time for me. So with that, thank you everyone. Hope you enjoyed the conversation